Hello, hello, hello. Today I have something very fun that I'm excited for. I have my May the Force Be With You shirt on for a very important reason, which you guys have already figured out because you guys have seen what this video is. I am very excited to participate in this readathon yet again. I have done this the last 2 or 3 years, I believe, and I love it. I love these whole D&D style character builds, those type of readathons. I think they're very fun. I am participating in Magical Readathon as we speak, so you guys have seen some of that. Next month, May the Force read with you because it's May and I love Star Wars, and so, which I usually have like my emotional support Kylo Ren sitting behind me, but he's not. He's over there. I have Rey and Kylo. I have Leia. They're all over on my shelf though. But that's not what's important. What's important are the books that I have chosen for this readathon. Now, I did print out the readathon prompts. However, my printer stopped working halfway through. So I tried to write them down as best as I could for what I've chosen. And I'm going to go in order. I am Sith. I always participate on the dark side. I always am one of the Sith lords by the end of it. And I can't stop myself from going to the dark side. I am dark. There's no reason for me to be a Jedi. There's no reason for me to pick a different calling or a bounty hunter or anything like that. So I might as well just give in and be who I am for every iteration of this readathon. For the first book, I am Zabrak, which I am every readathon that this has been going on. I have been Zabrak, and I'm Sith. So for Zabrak though, you had to pick a thriller, and this has been on my TBR for quite some time. I've heard nothing but good things about it. Oh, I must have set something on it. I can see the shiny there. But I've heard, like I said, nothing but good things about Listen for the Lie. I've heard the audiobook is fantastic, so that's probably going to be the way I take this in. I know that there is a lot of mixed media in this, so I do my mixed media books on Audible anyway, or Libby, however that goes, in audiobook form. But I'm very excited for this one. Okay, so for my corruptions, we have Deadly Sight, a book seen everywhere. Now, I put Happy Place on here, but I also have Beach Read. I'm not exactly sure which one I'm going to pick, but for the placeholder here, it's Happy Place. I do think I'm going to like both of these. I've enjoyed Emily Henry in the past, and so, I don't read the things that everybody else reads most of the time, so I was like, okay, this is hard. But then I realized I had some Emily Henry laying around, and I do need to read them. But I read Funny Story, really enjoyed it, and need to continue on my Emily Henry journey. So there we go. My next corruption is Drain Knowledge, and it had to feature a place of learning, a library, a school, etc. And I recently purchased The Library of the Dead, and I do have this on audio as well. So I need to read it. Since I bought on the Chirp sale, they did the series for like anywhere from $5 to $10 for the entire series. And I purchased this entire series, but I did have the physical copy of this book. And so I've heard nothing but good things about this one as well. I'm very excited to get into this series. I've heard great things about the author. When ghosts talk, she will listen. It says fast moving, entertaining, beautifully written, one of the most compelling fantasy worlds you'll see all year. I've heard very great things. Then Force Lightning, I needed neon colors. Now here's the thing, I'm a very dark girly. I don't buy books that have neon colors on them, so I kind of stretched this a little bit. These are neon lights. So I went with the neon, and some of them are bright, some of it's not, but these are meant to look like the neon lights of a city. And Blackfish City, I've got this on my R Fantasy Bingo this year, so I want to go ahead and read it. I've heard I'm probably not going to like it, but this is a sci-fi that I bought when I was trying to figure out what type of sci-fi I liked. And I've had it for forever, so I do need to read it. And it's fairly short, so even if I don't like it, it won't take me long to read it. Then Memory Walk, a sequel I haven't read in over a year. That would be Savage Bounty by Matt Wallace. I really liked the first book of this series, which I think is Savage Legion. Yes. But this is book 2, and I need to finish this series. So if I can get book 2 read, then book 3 should be fairly easy. And I really loved the first one. I don't know why I haven't continued. Probably just because I'm bad at continuing series. I mean, I've got Warlords of the Weirdwood right there, which RJ Barker is a favorite author of mine, and Aethera Grave. I'm just bad at completing series. But I need to read this one, so we're putting it on the TBR. And then my final corruption, which is all I really need to complete this readathon, but I always pick a book for every prompt. This is Transfer Essence, an author who has written 7 or more books. This is on my 25 to read in 2025, Behind the Throne by KB Wagers. KB Wagers has quite a few series out, and I just need to start my journey with KB and see if I like them. But I do think that I will. All right, so companions. We have Bantha, which is something massive on the cover. So I went for my self-destructing books, and there's a massive cup of coffee on this cover, and especially if you compare it to the size of the astronaut that's on the cover. But Spaceman of Bohemia has been on my TBR for so long, so long. It's in my self-destructing books, so if I don't read it this year, it's going to the buy-sell trade or to a free library, and I just need to read it. I do know that this is humorous though, and we know humor doesn't always work for me, so I'm a little nervous about that. Clothcat. We have a religious element needed to be in the book, and I have The Slain Divine by David Dalglish. This is the final book in the Vagrant Gods series, and I've really enjoyed this series. I need to finish it up. This is on my R Fantasy bingo, so let's go ahead and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I really like this series. I love David Dalglish's writing, and I'm already reading another series, so I need to finish this one. Then for Porg, we had to have sea or ocean as an element of the story, and so I am going to be reading The Unsinkable Greta James. This is one of the books that I got because it was compared to The Wedding People, which I loved. I looked up list after list after list of what you could compare to The Wedding People, and this one was popping up quite regularly, and I think I'm going to like it. It's about a girl who goes on a cruise with her father. They are both grieving the death of her mother, his wife, and trying to reconnect in a real way, but also like trying to have fun and grieve at the same time. So I think I'll like it. I think I will. Then I had to pick for Vulptex a moniker word in the title of the book. Now the moniker list is extensive. However, this was very hard for me to do because I was like, do I own any books that I haven't read with any of these monikers? And to be honest, not many, but Lost is one of the monikers, or part of the monikers. And so I picked The Lost War by Justin Lee Anderson. I do think I'm really going to love this. This is on my 25 books I want to read in 2025. We've talked about me choosing books that have my buzzwords in them. Demons, war, mages, all of that is in here, and I just need to read it. Okay, moving on to equipment. We have Datapad, which needed to have a number in the description. And Bat Eater and Other Names by Cora Chang has a number in the description. And let me see. So it says, before fleeing the scene, the murderer shouted 2 words, Bat Eater. And did I have to stretch that? No, it just said that there needed to be a number in the description. And I'm very excited for this one. I got this from Aardvark in my latest box. You guys will have probably seen my book haul, but I'm so excited to read this. I liked Kylie Lee Baker's writing in the past, and so now I'm just excited to read a horror from her. Okay, and then holographic Disguiser had to have face or headwear on the cover, and I picked Rubicon. I have put this on so many TBRs and I still haven't read it. I think I forget about it because I only own it on audio. And so when I get there, I'm like, I don't own that book. I don't know. My out of sight, out of mind, ADHD. That's all. That's the only excuse I have. But I have been wanting to read this for quite some time, and I'm excited to add it to the TBR again. And hopefully this time I get to it. And then Jetpack, MC Going Somewhere New. I chose The Combat Codes by Alexander Darwin. This is on my 25 to read in 2025, and our main character attends a school. So I feel like that is all I really need to know as far as that's concerned, like going somewhere new. That's all I have. And then under 3,000 ratings, I picked another book on my 25 to read in 2025, and that would be The Counselor by E.J. Beaton. I have been wanting to read this for quite some time. Oh, this is for Censor Jammer, by the way. I've been wanting to read this for quite some time. I've talked about it a lot, so I'm not going to talk about it too much here. I just want to mention that this is a political fantasy about a woman who has to take the place of the queen as a stand-in, and she's a little bit of a mess. So that's all I know. That's all I need to know, and I'm excited. Okay, then for starships. I did the smart thing this to go around because there's no way I'm getting to all of these books. Since I'm Sith, I just chose Star Destroyer and TIE Fighter. And then I had to pick a book that had sunrise or sunset on the background. And so I chose To Like the Lightning, which is also on my R Fantasy bingo board. And this definitely looks like a sunrise or sunset to me. Okay, and then for TIE Fighter, I had to pick a book that started with T-I or E. And I don't like choosing ones that have the as the first word. I feel like that's cheating a little bit. But The Ivory Key has T and I with the and ivory. I have this on my self-destructing books. It's a YA that I need to either read or unhaul. It is one of my former Owlcrate books that I still just haven't read yet. And that could be said for my next pick as well. It is a YA from Owlcrate that I still haven't read yet. But my weapons, I'm only going for one weapon this year. And that would be my lightsaber because it gains me 3 points in the readathon. But Lake's Edge, I've put this on a couple TBRs already. This is on my self-destructing books, like I said. It is a former Owlcrate book, and I just need to read it and find out. But the prompt is, title is multiple colors. And if you can see, it's kind of embossed on top, but it's silver and red. And so I'm using that for this prompt. Also fitting Sith colors here. And then for accomplices, Galactic Empire, I needed a cityscape on the cover. And look, there you go. There's a cityscape. Lightfall by Ed Crocker. Again, this book has been on my list multiple times. I did try to read this, but this is also one of the books that my brain just noped out of whenever my brain fog was getting really bad. I read like, I want to say 2 or 3 chapters, and then my brain said no, it didn't want to do it anymore. And I ended up having to pick up like some romance or something like that just to be able to read. Like my brain was noping out of everything, not because the book was bad. Lastly, I am going for the First Order, and this is another book on my R Fantasy bingo, but I had to choose a book in which the description had the main character's name as the first part of the description. So Anderson Lake, that is the main character in this one, the wind-up girl. Now I have heard I'm not going to like this book. I hope I do, but if not, I can pick a different book because I do want the First Order as part of my readathon, but it also, I'm not pushing myself this year. I'm not like trying to drive myself to read every single book that I put on these TBRs, because obviously this is a lot of books. If I was able to read all of these books in 1 month, that would be insane. But I did want to give myself some options. And that's it for this TBR, but I hope you found something that maybe you want to read. Maybe you want to participate in May the Force read with you. That's all I have for you today. I will see you in my next video. Bye.